Dear viewers, good morning. My stay in Istanbul is coming to an end, therefore I have decided to make a different type of video. Instead of showing you places, in this video I will just walk around randomly and speak about my impressions about Istanbul and my stay here. First of all, I must say that I have stayed in Istanbul 3 times before. Therefore, I have arrived here with a little more knowledge than somebody who is here for the first time. This 4th stay in Turkey's biggest city was for me both the best and the worst, and I will explain you why in detail. I will start with the negatives so that we get them out of the way. The first big negative was my first accommodation. To say it was bad is an understatement. I chose to go a low cheap, and the result was that I ended up in a place that was very basic, uncomfortable, humid, hot, and not very clean. My message to all travelers is to pay for decent accommodation or stay home. You can't stay a month in Istanbul in high season for less than $1,000. I would have probably stayed if it wasn't for the continuous power outages that afflicted the area. I am talking about power cuts of 10 or 12 hours every 2 or 3 days. I arrived home tired and I couldn't turn on the fan or read my mail. The location was also a problem. Reaching public transportation meant walking kilometers uphill. Furthermore, there were hardly any shops in the area, so buying something trivial like toothpaste meant a travel of hours. After 2 weeks of total discomfort, I decided to leave and go to a much better place 1 minute away from tram number 1 stop. It really regenerated me. Moral of the story, you get what you pay for. The second negative has to do with prices. Prices have more than doubled since the last time I came here in 2022, even for people holding American dollars like me. It is true that the Turkish lira went from 17 to 32 for $1, but the prices have more than quadrupled. A normal dish at a Turkish restaurant, like an Urfa kebab with all its sides, 2 years ago used to cost 100 liras. Now, you can't get it for less than 350, but normally they charge 400 or even 500 in the more touristy areas. Inflation is rampant. Prices aren't even printed on the menus anymore, but are written with an erasable marker so that they can change almost every week. Turkey used to be attractive for its low prices. That has completely gone away. Greece is far cheaper at the present moment. The third negative is that it is a very uncomfortable city. Even though I would very gladly be visiting again, I doubt that I would like to live here. Moving around is difficult. Public transport isn't very good. The city administration are probably doing the best they can. Istanbul, with its 15 million inhabitants, is Europe's most populated city, more than London, more than Moscow. You really have the impression that the infrastructure is insufficient. The fourth thing that I dislike is that it is overcrowded. On an already overpopulated city, millions of tourists from all over the world pour in. There are places where you can hardly move without bumping into someone. That really takes away a lot from the whole experience. I kind of worked around the problem by visiting the hidden gems that Istanbul offers and that few tourists know. I wouldn't necessarily consider it a negative, but one thing that I have noticed is that society in Turkey, throughout these years, is becoming more conservative. Every time I come, I see more women wearing the hijab and also covering their faces with the niqab. 5 years ago, the niqab was worn almost exclusively by tourists from countries like Saudi Arabia. Now, you see Turkish women wearing it. I would like now to talk about the food. Turkey has a great cuisine and a rich culinary tradition. Nonetheless, Turkish cuisine, even though I like it, isn't my favorite, at least the one I have tried here in Istanbul. The flavors aren't foreign to the palate of an Italian. There isn't the use of the exotic herbs and spices that you find in the Far East. I am grateful for that. The problem is its monotony. The restaurants in Istanbul are the carbon copy of each other. You find the same few dishes, cooked the same way everywhere you go. You very rapidly grow tired of it. At the present moment, I am really jaded. Same thing I think of their pastry shops. More than pastry shops, it seems to me they are resellers of the same desserts made in the same one factory. I have never seen a laboratory. Besides, they are way too sweet. My favorite Turkish food is gazalni, which is a flatbread filled with cheese or spinach or both, and then cooked on a hot pan. Absolutely delicious. I have heard renowned YouTubers say that Istanbul is a meat lover's paradise. Now, if by meat lover's paradise they mean that in Turkish cuisine meat is the protagonist, then I can agree. If instead they mean that the meat you eat here is outstanding, then they are talking rubbish. What you are served here are essentially meatballs. Small meatballs, big meatballs, elongated meatballs. Very tasty, very well seasoned and spiced. Nonetheless, just meatballs. If you take me to Gallagher's Steakhouse in New York City, or to the Asador Donostiera in Madrid, or to one of those barbecue places in the south of the United States, then I tell you that I am in a meat lover's paradise. If you take me to a kebab joint in Istanbul, then I am sorry, but I will not tell you that. Nothing is premium quality in a kebab restaurant. I hope I didn't appear nasty by listing the negatives. I think there is an abundance of travel vlogs with people saying that everything is amazing, everything is awesome. How can that be? I like to say what I think, and if I don't like something, I say it. The reality is that I love Istanbul. The fact that it's the 4th time that I come proves it. Love is not blind, though. Enough with the negatives. Despite the bad experiences, the positives, in my opinion, outweigh the negatives. The first positive of Istanbul is obvious. This place is extraordinary. There is no other place like it. The fact that it is divided between 2 continents, the fact that it served as an imperial capital for 1,600 years, the role it played in the advancement of Christianity, hosting 4 of the first 7 ecumenical councils, its role it had in the history of Islam after it became the seat of the Ottoman Caliphate, make Istanbul one of the most important cities in history. Its rich history is reflected in all the gorgeous churches, mosques, aqueducts, mausoleums, palaces, fountains, and fortifications that one can find just about everywhere. You literally can't raise your eyes without seeing something ancient and with a rich history. This alone trumps all the negatives. Another aspect that I find fascinating about Istanbul is its hybrid nature, its ambiguity. It's being European and Middle Eastern at the same time. Ever since I was a young boy, the word Constantinople produced fantasies of harems with beautiful ladies dancing the dance of the seven veils, of sultans wearing pointed slippers, of Turkish baths and murderous plots taking place in the seraglio. Another positive is its people. In few places I have found nicer people than the Turkish. Very open, very friendly, and always willing to help. The image I had of a warrior people ready to cut you to pieces with a scimitar melted like snow under the sun of August as soon as I set foot in this beautiful country. As I said before, this last stay in Istanbul has been the worst but also the best. It's been the best because I have decided to make YouTube videos, as a hobbyist, describing the places I visited. Having to give descriptions, I had to do research on those sites, and above all, pay attention to the details. I am going away with a much more profound knowledge of Ottoman art and architecture, and above all, Ottoman history. The other times I was more interested in photography, so I only paid attention how good those monuments came in a photo without bothering to try to know anything about them. I also ventured out of the beaten path a lot more, discovering some real gems. This is a difficult town. One arrives home really exhausted. The uphill roads, the chaos, the noise, the crappy transports, and the people who speak no English really suck the energy out of your body. Nonetheless, if you are willing to do the effort, this city can be extremely rewarding. The number of interesting things you can visit is immense. If I stayed a year, I wouldn't come close to see everything this city has to offer. I am really like a kid in a candy store. The candies are sometimes placed on the higher shelves, but they are there. It is time now to end this video, and with it my Turkish journey. I have produced a good amount of videos, so I am happy. I have also changed the style completely, so I hope that they will be more enjoyable for the viewer. I encourage everyone to visit this wonderful city. It is really worth the effort and the money. I look forward to see you at my next destination. Cheers.